And go.
83.
83, yeah, planning
for
scheme.
planning scheme. There again, we're going to go back to the first two steps of planning. We're going to firstly identify our zone and then identify our use. To identify our zone, we're going to use NR Maps. We're going to use the search function and put the address in. And we're going to tab along the information bar on the bottom. And we're going to find the town planning zone. And it is GI. General Industry is the zone. And we're going to identify our use. Does everyone have their drawings? Yep. Everyone has the drawings of the building?
Should we let everybody find the clauses on their own without?
Yeah. Well, second step, go to the zone table and identify a use of the building and call out the clauses to me when you're ready. So that's how we find the clauses. So what's going to happen in this warehouse?
It's an electrical wholesale back retail front.
Retail front, wholesale at the back.
Very small retail front, so a little bit like MIDI, but not as much retail.
Yeah.
And it's because the owner has the property directly behind it facing Benison Road and he needs to expand. And he's purchased the lot behind facing Raphael Road and he's just duplicating exactly the same design as he already got facing Benison Road. So he's just flipping it over and popping it on the other lot. So he can expand without relocating, but still have two separate properties. So if there's a downturn, then he can just sell one.
Oh, fantastic idea.
Seems like a pretty savvy businessman to me. So he owns the one here, 4839, and it faces Benison, and then he wants this one to face.
To Raphael.
So they won't be connected. They'll probably knock a hole in the fence, but
yeah.
Yeah. That zoning map can be a good screenshot, just a little bit of a snip of what you've got on the screen around your block. That can be a good thing to include in your report as well. There's an app on the computer called a snipping tool. You can search for it in the search bar or in the list of applications on it. It's called a snipping tool. The icon's like a pair of scissors. Instead of taking a screenshot of both screens, you end up with just the box you want, as if you've cropped it already.
I can show you up here if you want, because I love it since I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So down here, I'll just take that off for a second. So say I want to take a snip off my site in there. So down here in the search corner, just type in snip.
That's it there, the scissors.
And that's my snipping tool. I'm just simply going to go new. And it will allow me to move the cursor to wherever I want to go. So I want to just take a little shot of that. And it's giving me a little shot of that. And then you can set file, save as, and save it to wherever you want. And it can be imported into your reports. It can be, so for us who use a lot of maps and a lot of drawings, and we just want to, often a picture says 1,000 words. So in a report, and if you want to demonstrate how something has been done, just take a little snip off it and bring it into your report.
And the zoning maps with their colour and the picture and the category of the zones and things can just be helpful to show the zoning in the report.
Yeah.
To show you've looked it up.
When we write the statement of effect to do an actual planning application, which we'll do a unit on that later in the year, you would absolutely be using the snipping tool and you would be showing your zoning map up front to show that you've done your research and you know the zones of all the other lots that are bounding and adjoining yours.
Has everybody got the clauses? Yes, hands up. Not quite one.
I don't know what it's for.
Identify which one
I don't know.
it is. Is it like warehouse, office, both of them?
It's abattoir.
When it gets to this stage, because we know the building classes, but is that the same as the use for planning?
No. There's a definition for each of these uses in the planning scheme.
And you want it to apply to the whole block. There's no mixed use of zoning.
No.
There's only one use for zoning, so it's the most appropriate.
There was a showroom
Not a showroom enough. There might be a couple of shelves, but that's about it. It's a very small retail outlet.
So let's look at what it could be. Let's narrow it down a little bit. So if we go down to the list, you've got, the first one I come to there is general industry. Possibility. The next one could be light industry. There's one down here. Then the other options are warehouses right at the bottom, or
Warehouse is just for storage.
it's just storage, yeah.
And this is more than storage.
And the other one then is showroom sales, but we've just said it's a small component.
Yeah.
So where would I go from here? I would go and read the descriptions. What is general industry? What is light industry? Can anyone find them for me and read them out to me? We want to define the use or identify the use. What's that, Sabrina? Have you found it? Can you read it out to us, or?
The primary purpose of Zone GI is to provide for general industries. Officers are expected to primarily provide a service to the general industry in the zone and to be of a size
Consumerate.
consumerate with the service provided. Shops are expected to be limited.
Commensurate.
Commensurate.
Commensurate. That's the sociology word. I
Yeah.
heard that one over the weekend. It just means in keeping with.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
alright.
3 words. Winston just used one.
In keeping with. Alright.
Shops are expected to be limited to those that are either service the needs of the general industry in the zone or would be inappropriate in a commercial zone. So it will allow shops, but they have to be limited to those that will provide a service to the needs of the general industry area, the zone, or something that will be inappropriate in a CBD, for instance. Offices are expected to primarily provide a service to the general industry, and the primary purpose of the zone is to provide for general industry. Can we go to light industry? Oh, you've got it up here. So light industry means an industry which in the process carried on, the machinery used, the goods and commodities carried to and from the premises on which the industry is sited are not of such a kind as are likely to adversely affect the amenity of the surrounding locality by reason of the emission of noise, vibration, smell, fumes, smoke, vapour, steam, soot, ash, dust, wastewater, waste products, grit, oil or otherwise. So it means, light industry basically means, an industrial nature, but, can't be allowed to do any of these things. So we've said that the use in this warehouse is mechanical use, and I think from my experience, not that it's very great, but they would produce things like fumes and smoke and grit and oil would be quite common in a mechanical warehouse.
So last year I picked general industry as the use. If I remember correctly, and I'm kind of predicting of what I was thinking at the time, I did that for a couple of reasons. One, because this might mean resale one day, and if you restrict the use of the building on what is zoned general industry, and you then build according to planning for light industry, you are unnecessarily restricting the new owner to only light industrial operations on a general industrial zoned lot. Now it's pretty much right next to light industrial, so it's probably not a huge issue, but somebody who buys the property will expect to be able to operate general industry, which means all those emissions, because it's zoned general industry. So even though the current use of electrical is probably not that bad, if we built the building according to light industry planning restrictions, that would be all you could ever do in that property if you sold it to the next person. So I'm hoping that's why I thought that. If I didn't, I'm saying it. I'm calling it. I'm saying I'm not that good. But I can't guarantee.
I totally agree with you. like we spoke about before, if you do have a change of use then of the building, if it moves, and a lot of these, when we get into commercial buildings, they're tenanted buildings. They may not be owner-occupied. They may be tenanted buildings. So if you have a tenant in there who is performing something that's regarded as a light industrial use and you apply for planning on that basis, if that tenant moves out in 2 years' time, you could see yourself reapplying for planning to attract new tenants of a heavier type of industry, more like a general industry.
It just gives you a bit of flexibility. So it's over and above perhaps what this client necessarily needs, but it would be good advice as an investment, because most sites like this are investment properties. It would be a wise advice to give the client to stick with the general industry use that the general industry zoning is allocated for. I think that's why I did it. I may have just seen general industry and gone straight to general industry. That could have been what I did, but I reserve the right to deny that.
So we'll go back to our zoning table. Good on you.
I got you.
Back to our zoning table, and let's call out the clauses. So we identified our zone as general industry, where our use is general industry. They are two different things though. And if we go to the zoning table, it should be fairly straightforward to call out the clauses. Who's there? 6.1 again? What's 6.1? Yay! Oh, I love it.
6.5.1.
6.5.1.
No, 6.1 isn't parking. 6.5.1 is. 6.1 is the first clause, but it's not parking.
It's not parking.
Nah, sorry.
Damn, I thought you got wrong.
So close.
What's 6.1?
I think it's new for us. We haven't.
Yeah, all right, we haven't covered that one yet. Next one.
6.5.1 is car parking.
6.5.1. We've read it before, car parking. Although we will see for AT3 that involves some calculations to be done this time. It's not as easy as saying 2 per dwelling. And the next one is going to be 6.6, which I think we had today too, did we? No? And 9.1.1. Sorry, I'm no good at remembering what the clauses are from their numbers.
Signage is different.
Yeah, there is a signage one usually on that.
Yeah.
Oh, did I write the wrong one? The end of the right.
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody got those clauses? See the general industry right in the middle of the screen? These are permitted. It would be a bit silly if they zoned it general industry and didn't have general industry as permitted use, so that's good. And then there's the 4 clauses.
So tomorrow morning, bright and early, we shall go through the 4 clauses. And then we'll be done with planning.
Your mission tonight, if you choose to accept it, is to jump on those in advance.
If you want. And after we do that tomorrow, then we'll head back to NCC compliance for our AT3 as well. That will conclude our week.
So this will be a bit of a disjointed recording, but we've got the same phenomenon with AT2 with the NCC. There was 2 separate days. So
yeah.
If you're ever listening back on these recordings, just be aware that they've split. The recordings will be split. There's just a short one. There's only been 13 minutes, and then there'll be another one that's much longer tomorrow. So you'll be able to connect them together.
Not allowed to record.